prominent Muslim scholar or an Iranian authority or citizen, the police cannot arrest him. But if the dog of an American is insulted, the police have to intervene and the dog's case has to be presented to the court.
Ayatollah Khomeini was ordered out of the country by Prime Minister Hassan Ali Mansour in November 1964. He eventually settled in the bastion of Shia Islam, the city of Najaf in Iraq. 2 months later, Mansour was assassinated by a supporter of the Ayatollah. The Shah immediately appointed Amir Abbas Hoveyda, who remained Prime Minister for 13 years.
I think the luck of this country is that he has such a Shah, and that the Shah is dealing with the affairs. As a matter of fact, if you look at our history, you find out that any time we had a strong Shah, this country went in the peak of development, and any time we had the weak Shah, the country was either occupied by you Britishers or by the Russian, I don't know by whom. Therefore, what is important is to have a strong Shah who certainly could bring behind him all the nation.
During much of Hoveyda's premiership, the economy grew steadily and Iran enjoyed what looked like a period of stability. The Shah's powers reached unprecedented heights, and he took to using the name enjoyed by the ancient Persian emperors, the shadow of God. Outside Iran, he and Queen Farah became international celebrities. But the seeming calm came at a price. Iran was now a police state. Savak had agents everywhere, including a special unit for student activists. Michael Metrinko taught English at a university in Iran. Many of his students were arrested.
The things they went to jail for seemed so minor. If they had been in America, nobody would have noticed anything. They were more of the genre of student activist and not student opposition. Just people who were interested in changing something. And in the United States at a college, in England at a college, they would have been on the student council, that's all. Trying to get the grading system changed or, the cafeteria improved or something like that.
In exile in Najaf, Ayatollah Khomeini had time to refine his vision of an ideal Islamic government. He called it Velayat-e-Faqih, a system, he wrote, in which a high-ranking Shia cleric would be the supreme leader of the country and have absolute control over the affairs of the nation. Dissent would not be allowed. Many devout young Iranian Muslims chose Ayatollah Khomeini as their marja, an object of emulation who could interpret the teachings of Islam for them. Abbas Abdi was among them.
اصلی ترین تفاوتی که میشه گفت بین امام و دیگر مراجع وجود داشت اعتقاد به اینه که ما یه حکومت میتونیم جای بذاریم. حالا اینکه این حکومت چیه، مشخصاتش چیه، مسئله فرعی قضیه است یا حداقل اون موقع فرعی مینمود. این که چنین چیزی رو داریم و میخوایم جایگزین کنیم، این بسیج کننده اصلی نیروها بود.
The man who called himself the shadow of God continued to underestimate the men of God in Iranian society. He had his own vision of the country he wanted Iran to be.
We want to couple modern technology with the spirit of our old civilization. We are 3,000 years old.
In 1968, the Shah and his queen hosted a lavish arts festival in Shiraz. The aim was to put Iran on the map as a cultural crossing point between East and West. Avant-garde performances, including erotic and nude scenes, struck a sour note with many Iranians, and not just the devout.
دانشگاه ما چپیای دانشگاه رو این نوع مثلا روابط ولنگاری و بیبندوباری حساستر از مذهبی‌ها بودن و حتی برخوردم میکردن به دلیل اینکه این فرهنگ رو فقط فرهنگ خالص نمیدیدن، یه وجه از سیاست هم برای اون قائل بودن. سیاست‌های فرهنگی شاه رو فقط در حد همین قضیه فرهنگ نمیدیدن، یه نوع سیاست ضد مذهبی و یه نوع سیاست ضد سیاسی شدن هم تصور داشتن.
There is a very specific and special relationship between me and my people. This maybe is not very well understood in other countries. And as long as this special relationship exists between myself and my people, I don't see where somebody should or could step in and break it.
In 1971, the Shah treated his subjects to another spectacular, this time in Persepolis, to mark 2,500 years of the Persian Empire. Dozens of foreign dignitaries, including 30 heads of state, were invited to the party. They were housed in 50 air-conditioned tents with the menu provided by Sheikh Maxim in Paris. And 4,000 soldiers from the Iranian army reenacted the history of the kingdom.
در جشن‌های 2500 ساله شاه دیگه رسیده بود به اون نهایت اون جنون عظمتی که مگالومانیایی که خارجی‌ها ازش صحبت می‌کردن و داشت.
There was a serious side to the celebrations. 2,500 schools were built around Iran. But such acts were overshadowed by the party in Persepolis. As the Shah and his guests looked on the parade, Ayatollah Khomeini sent a message to his supporters.
People should protest against this. They should ask, they should implore other nations not to take part in these nasty celebrations. These are dirty celebrations. Tell the Islamic nations not to take part in them. These are ceremonies that Israeli experts have created. Don't take part in them.
بابا بعد از 2500 سال ما یه دفعه جشن میگیریم. ببینید ممالک دیگه غربی 200 سالشون رو جشن میگیرن، هر سال چه مهمونیایی میدن، یا آمریکا هم 200 سال آزادیشو، ایندیپندنس یا هر چی هست جشن میگیره و بعد اون چیزای اساسی اون جشن ها رو در نظر نگرفتن متاسفانه.
Uri Lubrani was the Israeli ambassador to Ethiopia before his posting in Iran. He saw parallels between the Shah and Emperor Haile Selassie, another autocratic, remote monarch.
I felt when I came to Tehran, and after a period of time, I felt that the Shah has lost his touch with the people, his contact with the people. He has become so arrogantly overconfident, believing that he had all the answers, that he knew what Iran needed and should not heed to what the people think or do.
Lubrani had plenty of time to observe the Shah, meeting him on several occasions. The Shah was in awe of Israel's military prowess, particularly impressed by its swift victory during the Six-Day War in 1967.
He really wanted to learn from Israel experience how Israel succeeded to do it, and he started to purchase every kind of aeroplane that only appear in America, F-14, F-16, F-18 only they spoke about. Before they appear, he bought 200 to be ready with a strong air force to use Israeli systems as a superpower to smash all possible enemies. The main enemies, as you know, used to be Iraq.
The Shah felt that Persian Iran, like Israel, was constantly under threat from its Arab neighbors. An alliance with Israel seemed natural. In particular, the Shah was worried about the most powerful man in Iraq, Vice President Saddam Hussein. Saddam never